Welcome, everybody, to the next episode of Chiefs Focus First and 10. You are here with JP and Caleb. What's up, bro?
I'm doing good, man. How are you doing?
I'm doing okay. I'm doing I guess, as best as I could be doing right now, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm doing it. Uh, we've been a while since we've done a show, and that's my fault. Um, been out of town. Well, I've been actually in Kansas City, and just taking care of my sister and some other things, um, my father, and just spur of the moment things. So my sister, and my sister's in the hospital, and I appreciate all the fans that have been asking. I mean, DMs. Everybody's be DMing me and asking how everything's going, and even calling me. The people that have my number, and I really appreciate it with my sister. And just an update. I mean, there's really no change. Other than that, she somewhat did breathe on her own a little bit yesterday, but she's still pretty much on life support, and it just doesn't look that great. So they gave her a 1% chance, basically. Um, so I'm helping my dad, who's 95, and he still gets around really good, and but he needed some. He was living with my sister, or my sister was living with him as caregiver, and he can't live on his own. So I've been here since last Thursday, as you know, just helping my dad and trying to get things in order for him, and probably going to take him back home with me. And well, I am going to take him back home with me, and and just try to, I guess, move forward. That's all we can really do.
Mm-hmm. Well,
One bright,
everybody will be praying for him, man, and your father too. So don't
I
worry about that.
appreciate
We'll
it.
all be praying for them.
I appreciate it, man. I guess the one good bright spot was today I took my dad to the doctor, which, if anybody knew my dad, that's the first time he's been to a doctor in 95 years. In fact, he wasn't even born in a doctor's office. He was born on a dirt floor in Sicily. But he is in phenomenal health. The doctor was just blown away at his condition. She goes, I can't believe he's 95. And I said, yeah. I said, my whole side of the family over there lives forever. Got aunts and uncles that have lived into, 103, 105. And she goes, he'll live a good 5, 10 years the way
That's
he's going
great.
right
That's
now.
good.
So minimum. And I was really happy at 95 to live another even 5 years would be great. But that was a really bright spot. But he's always been one of those guys that he just doesn't let anything get to him. And he won't go to a doctor because he feels like he can take care of it on his own. He's never taken a pill in
Mm-hmm.
his life. So, other than just minor stuff, he's in great condition. He can't hear, of course. I got to scream when I talk to him, which is
Mm-hmm.
giving me a throat ache. So if it sounds like my throat's messed up, it's because I've been talking to my dad for a week.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then my hearing's starting to go because the TV's so loud. But other than that, he's in really good condition. I got to give him, he's the strongest man I know. I tell you that because
That's good here, man.
he's something else. But anyway, again, I appreciate everybody asking and DMing me and calling me, and it's just been unbelievable. And I really appreciate everybody that knows about it. I didn't really put a lot out about it, and just the few people that I know I can trust, on Twitter and of course, all my friends with Chiefs Focus, but the people that know have told other fans, and they have just been calling me or DMing me, and it's been really nice. So again, I appreciate everybody and all the support. But we got some football stuff to talk about, and we might as well get into it. Um, Sammy Watkins going to the Packers, year deal, $4 million.
Mhm.
You know, I don't know about you, but I'd take Sammy back on a $4 million deal. For
I
for
don't know. It's tough, JP.
for 4 million, dude. Most of these guys, look what Tyreek Hill's making. Okay, think about it like this: look what most wide
Mm-hmm.
receivers make per game. Some of them make 4 million a game. Okay,
That's true.
okay.
That's true.
If we
I
got
just I
six
would
good
only bring
games
him in.
out of him, man.
Mm-hmm.
It'd be phenomenal. But
I would just only bring him in mainly for a rotation piece because he's
yeah,
hurt half the year. And
yeah,
that's a problem because if you're hurt for half the year, you can't do anything. It doesn't help your team. So we saw all these times in the past where Sammy would get hurt. It'd be like, okay, well, D-Rob is stepping in. Oh, wait, D-Rob can't keep up the production. So it
yeah,
was very frustrating over time that you see it cause a lot of issue for the offense. The Chiefs, I think they're finally past that. And I would like to have Sammy back. I just don't know if it's just be beneficial for the team as of right now.
yeah, yeah. I just
That's
thought,
maybe just my opinion, but I mean, it could work. But it's like you could easily find someone on the practice squad, or you can find a guy in the draft. I mean, looking at the draft, there's a lot of stuff.
yeah, I just kind of thought to myself, well, given the fact that he does know the system
Hmm.
and it's $4 million, if we got, he was a huge contributor to our Super Bowl win, and
Hmm.
he did play. I think he did his first year with the Ravens. I think he played all 16 games.
No, he didn't. I don't think he played all 16. He played in a decent amount, but he got injured pretty quickly. I remember that. I don't remember specifics of what he did,
Maybe
but I
it
know
was
he had
14
COVID a
games.
couple times,
Yeah,
and I think that's it.
I'd
I
have to
think
look it
that's
up,
it.
but
I think he was injured, but let me look it up.
yeah, I
Because
can't remember now.
his numbers really weren't like great
Well,
because
he
it's the
wasn't.
Ravens. They're running the ball
Yeah,
all the time.
yeah, he
Um,
wasn't utilized like they told him he was going to be either.
so he only had 27 receptions for 394 yards and one touchdown.
What year?
So he didn't have his. It was a down. It was basically someone of a similar year in Kansas City.
What year was that?
Beside, that's 2021 with the Ravens and 2020 with the Chiefs. He had 37 receptions for 421 yards and two touchdowns. So that's kind of just it. I mean,
Well, you
he's
also
had
have
some
to
good
remember
times
too.
here
In
and there, but
21, Jackson was hurt too, but
that's true.
he was out 4 games, three games, maybe four. But I think, given the fact that he knows the system and he's in a system that is a pass system instead of a rushing system, he
Hmm.
may. I mean, I don't. I'm not saying that he would get 1,000 yards or anything close to it, but I think he could be that rotation piece that could help, in certain situations. And
Hmm.
you've seen what he did when he was healthy. He did really well in our system. For that little amount of money, I wouldn't complain. But hey, it is what it is. He's where he
Hmm.
is, and if he's gonna anybody that's gonna make the most out of him, it's gonna be Aaron Rodgers or Patrick Mahomes. So,
Hmm.
because they're both passing quarterbacks, and I think I'm just glad he's still working. I mean, I feel good, because remember after the Super Bowl, he was considering retiring.
Yeah, he was. Yeah.
So,
Hmm.
but the Chiefs talked him into coming back one more year, which I understand why they did. I mean, it kind of is what it is. But
Hmm.
I'm just glad he's still working, and he's got a job. I mean, it's good. So,
It'll
uh,
be interesting to see what we can do with Aaron Rodgers.
yeah,
That's when we get target. I'm not saying Aaron Rodgers no Patrick Mahomes, but they're both equal in comparison. But I'm kind of curious how he will do on this team as kind of like the number one option as of right now, kind of because the Packers really don't have anyone else.
no, they
So it's
don't.
gonna be really interesting to see what's going to happen.
Yeah, yeah, it's going to be. It's more of a simplistic offense than ours is. So I think he might thrive, especially given the fact that Rodgers does throw the ball a lot.
Mhm.
So he may thrive a little bit more there than he would, or than he did prior with the Ravens. As long as, again, like you said, he stays healthy. But uh, just kind of crazy stuff. I mean,
Mhm.
it, good to see him have a job. But also we ought to talk about something really sad. But Haskins,
Yeah, that was pretty messed up.
yeah, um, I've yet to hear why he was on the highway. I was told at one point that he was jogging, um, which I'm kind of surprised he would jog on that highway, on that road. But I guess apparently somebody I had spoke to said that a lot of people jog on the side of that highway.
Mm.
So not just him, but a lot of people do. Now, I'm not saying that's what he was doing. I really don't know what he was doing, and no one does for that matter. The
Mhm.
one thing that I think pissed me off the most was the fact that people automatically assumed that he was on drugs or he was doing, uh, something, that caused that to happen, or he was drunk or something. without even knowing the situation yet, and that's basically what their assumptions were.
Mhm.
And
And I think it was very interesting to see people like Adam Schefter come out with that tweet and it's like, dude, the guy died. Why do you have to say he was struggling?
yeah,
Like he pulled up a pat. There was a past tweet as a player died, and he didn't mention anything about that guy struggling. And I
no,
didn't even recognize the guy's name. It was like, bro, read the room.
yeah,
It's frustrating to see because like Dwayne Haskins, and me people talk to him. Was a great guy, team player, did everything he could do to help win. He wasn't the best with the Washington football team. I mean, that's just kind of how it is. I mean, no one's really great, and you see all the issues they're dealing with
yeah,
people. Their owner looked like he pocketing money. Someone was saying it was like reading a script from The Godfather, seeing what he was doing.
yeah.
But what we're seeing here is just shows kind of the lack of empathy for players. And I know people are like, well, the players are. People are like, well, the players need to listen to people to say. I'm like, that tweet was not right at all. You shouldn't. Adam Schefter should not have put that out that way.
No,
There's a way to
not at all.
put things out, and the guy died. When I saw he died, I was like, what?
Yeah,
That guy. I remember watching this man play at Ohio State
he
like
was great,
two
too.
couple years ago. I thought he was great, and I
Yeah.
thought it was pretty silly that the Giants passed on him because apparently Daniel Jones can handle the quote unquote New York media market. I was like, yeah, the Giants, they weren't going to be good after I knew that. But I thought Haskins was a good guy. I thought he deserved a fair shake. I don't think he got the best one in Washington with all that dysfunction, but he ended up with him, ended up going to the Steelers and kind of jumped up in the situation. He apparently he was working out with his teammates down there too.
Yeah, he was.
So
He
I
was.
don't know why he was on the highway. I'm not for sure what was going on, but it's pretty sad to see that and to see people jump to conclusions and say silly things is pretty sad.
Yeah, Gil Brandt
It's pretty
really
sad.
just
I didn't
wow.
listen to the full thing, but from what I saw people's reaction, they were not happy.
Dude,
It's
the
like,
things that
dude,
was coming out
you
of his
can't
mouth.
say those things. That's disrespectful.
Well,
That
I,
is disrespectful.
the one thing that got me is that he mentioned that he said maybe if he'd have stayed in school a year longer, he wouldn't basically be dead, is basically how he worded it.
That's so
And
silly.
I'm like, what kind of shit is
That
that?
makes no sense at
Yeah.
all. That makes zero sense.
Yeah, why would you ever say something like that? I mean, if he had an opportunity to come out early in the draft because he was that good or out of school early and get into the draft, why not do it? I mean, there's guys that came straight out of high school and did well in the NFL. So, and then he mentioned something about, again, drugs and alcohol. And I got to be honest with you, when I was listening to it, I don't know if Gil Brandt has any kind of medical issues, but he actually sounded pretty much drunk to me when he was talking.
Hmm.
So for him to bring up something of that nature and then possibly be drunk on his own while he's doing this interview is pretty stupid.
Well, I don't know if he was drunk, but what I will say is this: you can't say comments like that. It's very rude. It's very rude and sensitive.
disrespectful.
Someone lost their
Think
life.
about their family.
This man wasn't out there being silly wasn't out there being crazy or nothing.
No.
I mean,
And they said he
we
was the
don't
happiest
know
guy
what
in the
he's done
world.
behind closed doors, but I'll say this. I haven't seen really anyone say really anything bad about him, the person. And a lot of people, his teammates, players flocked and were like, this is terrible.
Yeah.
I thought Dwayne Haskins was a good quarterback. I mean, I obviously the situations where the best one, like this guy could play, but it just shows you, man, life's too short, and you gotta do the right thing. And
Well,
I'm hoping, I'm praying for his family because that's
Yeah.
terrible that to do it. And on top of that, Gil Brandt saying his stuff, and then Adam Schefter with his tweet. It's
Yeah.
like, dude, like guys, come on now, be better.
Well, and I guess the thing about Schefter is, look, he has never. I don't know. I know that he has his staff writers, and I get that part of it. And I am not 100% positive if he actually put that, if that was his personal tweet or if that was a staff writer's tweet, and then they have their own rights to put that out. I'm not really sure. But
I guess though, JP, what it was him because he ended up coming out with like it wasn't a video apology. It was basically a podcast apology. He took like a minute and a half clip from his podcast and apologized. And I'm assuming it was him who did it.
well,
now,
I think
maybe
he would almost have to do that just given the fact that it was under his name. But
that's true. That's
You know.
I agree with you. That's fair.
and again, okay, look, you got to look. I wish to God he didn't work for he. I wish he didn't work for who he does. It's
He works for
hard enough.
ESPN, like you said.
Yeah, and that's look. I'm sorry, but that's turned into. It's basically a dredge network, and they look for the negative and everything. It's. I mean, why did they? They hired Brooke Pryor, so that should tell you something. but he actually originally apologized to Marcus Spears and I think Ryan Clark or somebody. I'm like, okay, wait a minute. What about his family that you're supposed to be apologizing to for putting out that tweet? I mean, you should have apologized to his family and publicly apologized, not apologized to those guys. That part I didn't understand either. But again, that was through a Twitter feed that I don't know if, that was just something that somebody made up. I really don't know. I mean, there's so much crap that is made up on Twitter, with, if somebody stubs their toe, a dog bit it off, or, a truck ran over their foot, or, it turns into 75. It's like little kids that, they get a scratch, and that scratch turns into, I fell off my bike, did 3 tumbles, jumped back on my bike, rode home, did a backflip and an endo, and I did all this other stuff. And, because they just exaggerate the story. So it's really hard to say either way, but it was wrong. No matter how you look at it, whoever wrote it, whoever put it out, it was wrong. And what Gil Brandt said was wrong. And I think he should honestly never speak again.
Like football related, because he's on radio and stuff too.
Yeah, he is. I don't think he should speak about anything. I think he should actually somebody should sew his lips shut, because what he said was absolutely disgusting, in my opinion. It was worse than Schefter's tweet, by far worse than.
Well, yeah, people were not happy with his, and I didn't listen to the full video, but people were not happy.
Well, it was ridiculous.
They were not happy. They thought it was ridiculous. So,
and everybody from prior teammates to current teammates and everybody in between, everybody from Ohio, said that man didn't have a smile on his face, was always upbeat, was always ready to work, always happy, never looked at the negative side of things, just did what he was supposed to do and worked very hard and was a happy guy. So, and he made everybody else happy around him. So to sit there and speculate the way that a lot of people have, and not just these dumbass fans, but big time people as well, it's ridiculous. I'm sorry, but it's just sad. Anyway, we had to get that out because.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's a piece of NFL news. We have to cover that.
Yeah,
it's an important piece. But what are your thoughts so far, man, on the off season so far? That's everything that's going on.
Well, I mean,
and the draft approaching pretty quickly too.
Yeah, I think, to be honest with you, man, Veach did a great job. I know nobody wants to agree with it, and nobody wants to think he's done anything, but look, we are the most fascinating team and the most interesting team in the draft right now, no matter how you look at it. I mean, 12 picks, bro. Now, are we going to use all 12 picks? Of course
not by any chance. He's going to swing a couple trades easily.
Exactly. But
them 7s are going to be gone. I'm telling you right now.
You know it. But how many other teams have 12 picks? How many times has that ever really happened? That a team
I mean, it's still usually the really bad teams. And you're telling a team that just came off of a AFC Championship game loss have 12 picks. That's pretty good.
Exactly. You usually see it with like the Browns, a 1-32 team, or 1-31, 1-16, or 1-15.
The Jets.
I'm sorry, or the Jets, or Carolina, or somebody like that. But you never see a Super Bowl contending team have 12 picks in the draft. Veach was able to pull that off, and to me, I think that's pretty phenomenal. And I think, in my opinion, he sees what he wants in the draft, and he knows he's got day one starters that are sitting there waiting, and he's going to go after them guys. Now, I do want to bring up one thing. As far as the Bradbury situation, that somebody from NFL Network that has no clout, has a check mark because he worked for NFL Network, put out a tweet saying that the Chiefs never had interest in him and they never even talked about it, which was absolutely false.
We saw from other people tweeting, lower level people tweeting about it too.
Well,
I mean, I don't know where that guy's coming
upper level
from.
people. In fact, just so you know, after we had talked about it, Rap Sheet and Tom Pelissero and two other guys had actually said that the Chiefs were interested and had talks going on with the Giants over Bradbury. So at one point they came really close to getting a deal done. And from what I understand, the way it happened, and I've explained this, I think, prior, but I want to make sure I had.
I'll just explain it again.
Well, and I got some more, a little bit more clarity on it as well. The trade was agreed upon with the Giants. It went back and forth a couple of times. It changed a couple of times, but the trade was agreed upon. And we were trying to work with Bradbury to restructure his contract on a 4-year deal. And he went from wanting $14 million a year to wanting $16 million a year and a 5-year contract. Veach was never going to do that. It originally started out as a 4-year deal. We were going to restructure it. I don't know the numbers exactly because they never really got to me, but I know that it was team friendly to a degree and also player friendly to a degree.
Okay.
And Bradbury originally, supposedly, now from what I'm told, agreed to those numbers. And then he was told, wait a minute, this is a 4-year deal. Your money's backloaded because it was team friendly for the first year, or two. And do you think you're going to make it 4 years, or do you think you're going to get cut year 3? And if you do, then that means you lose the majority of your contract unless somebody else picks you up, in a trade scenario. And that's when he started, whether, from what I understand, I know a lot of it was his agent telling him that, and then others around him. So within his circle.
Oh, okay.
So then he started backtracking and wanting a 5-year deal and wanting more money up front. And he wanted more money as a contract, on his contract, I should say, as far as his per year deal. And Veach declined it. But
and that doesn't surprise me. We see with Veach's contracts are always backloaded. A lot of them are always going to be backloaded.
Or bonus structured.
Or bonus structure. And I understand kind of why Bradbury want to do that. But it's like, well, if you don't want to take it, fine. We got 12 picks. We can find some good corners. I mean, we've been working on our draft board, and we'll be releasing that shortly in the future. But what I want to say is that there's some really good talented players out here in this draft. At the positions that the Chiefs need, they are loaded. Those positions are loaded with talent.
Yeah.
Wide receiver, defensive end, linebacker, safety. I mean, these positions are loaded.
Everybody's out
edge
there.
rushers.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, these groups are loaded. So if they don't get a guy like Bradbury, or they can't get a guy like DK, the Chiefs will be fine. I promise you that. They will be fine.
DK's not an option, man. I'm
just throwing it out there because I know some people kind of wanted him.
I know, and a lot of fans assumed that was going to happen because of.
I mean, he got 2 first-round picks.
Huh?
I mean, if I was that's 2 first-round picks, though.
Yeah, I understand, but my point is that I talked to a guy that I deal with in Seattle. I told you this a long time ago, and in fact, he was never an option to be traded. We talked about this on the show when his name first got brought up, and I asked, and I said, it's not an option. They don't want to trade him. And everybody kept saying, that's not true. That's not true, blah, blah, blah. Well, then Seattle came out, I think it was probably maybe 10, 12 days ago, and said, we have absolutely no interest in trading DK Metcalf. Why would you trade? Look, think about it from a winning perspective. Think about it from a team perspective. You have no quarterback. Okay. You have no clue who you're going to bring in for a quarterback. So why would you trade away your best offensive weapon if you're going to end up with, let's just throw out a name and just say like a Drew Lock style player or even a Baker Mayfield for that matter, because you're going to need all the weapons you can get to help that quarterback. And you never would in a million years trade away a rookie that's on a rookie deal when you don't know what you're going to do for a quarterback. Now, if they were trading for, hypothetically, if they were trading for a Aaron Rodgers or even a Patrick Mahomes, which would never happen, but somebody of a high caliber, high talent quarterback that makes everybody around them better, then I would almost say, okay, that would make a little bit more sense because then they're giving up, whoever gives it up is going to give up a couple of first round picks or whatever, because these quarterbacks can make players better. But as we've seen, Baker Mayfield cannot. You got Jimmy Garoppolo out there that who knows what's going to happen with him. We've seen what he's done. Yeah, he went to a Super Bowl, but it wasn't really because of him.
He did do his thing, but they hid some of his things he struggled with, deficiencies in his passing game.
Exactly.
The team was built really well defensively. Run game was phenomenal. Yes.
Yeah, run game. Yeah. So it just doesn't make sense from a team standpoint to trade away one of the best wide receivers in the league and your best offensive rookie for when you don't have a quarterback and you're so, I guess, unstable at this point. If there was some stability there and you had rock solid information about what you were getting or who you had, or you already had somebody signed that was an elite top tier quarterback, different story. But they don't have that. So at this point, it's almost like if you're going to do a fire sale, you're going to fire sale everybody but him. You're going to get rid of maybe a Tyler Lockett. You'll get rid of some of your, rebuild your offensive line, help with in different areas in defense and things that you really needed, that Russell Wilson really needed when he was there.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying Russell Wilson is going to do any better in Denver. I don't know. I really don't. I can't say that he will or won't. I don't, you got a brand new coach, you got a brand new system, you got a lot of brand new players, and you still don't have the best offensive line. So unless they really do something with that offensive line, and I know people think they do have a good offensive line, which they are, I think, top 20, but
they're too little too late, though. I mean, Tyler Lockett's done.
Exactly.
Too little too late.
Yeah. So you can't, a Russell Wilson situation is not going to, he's not going to make Denver a Super Bowl team in 1 year, especially right now with what they have. So is he going to help them? Well, yeah. I mean, he's a great quarterback. He's going to help them in ways that they haven't been helped in the past other than Peyton Manning. But I still don't think that one player with who they have on their roster, especially offensive line wise, and the fact that everybody is brand new from, your head coach, positioning coaches, defensive coordinator, offensive coordinator. You're bringing in new players. It's a new system that Wilson's never played in. It's not going to be easy to adjust to. And then again, it's Josh McDaniels. So
no, he's with the Raiders.
I'm sorry, not Josh. I always get that other guy confused. What's our coach's name?
Let's see.
Can't even think of his name right
because it didn't even came in my head. Their head coach is Nathaniel Hackett. I think he's from
Nathaniel
Tennessee.
Hackett. Yeah, Tennessee coach.
I think he's from Tennessee. I'm not. Don't quote me on it.
I believe he is too. I don't see how that is going to benefit them to be a contender the first year because they got Russell Wilson. I see the Chargers being a little bit better maybe than Denver at this point.
Oh, for sure.
I'm blown out of the water with this whole Derek Carr thing. I saw a tweet today from Rap Sheet, and I think he must have made a mistake when he was typing this, because it said Las Vegas Raiders and have agreed to a deal with superstar quarterback Derek Carr. Okay, wait a minute. I want to know where the superstar part came from. I don't know if Adam.
Have they even won a playoff game?
I
don't think Derek Carr's won a playoff game in his career. Is that true?
Well, that's the only playoff game he played in.
Yeah, so he hasn't won one. I don't think if he might have won one, but I don't think he's never won one.
No, he's never won
Derek Carr's not bad, but it's kind of like, and how much was his contract?
$160 million for, I think it was a 3-year extension for $160, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, they're set on their guy. I wouldn't, but they're set on their guy.
You know what? So, they had Mariota sitting there and they let him go. And
he's with the Falcons now.
Yeah, and he's fighting for a starting position with 2 other quarterbacks. So they're going to actually have a good quarterback crew down there because those are three good quarterbacks. And if they can build a team around them with a good coach, if this coach that, Sean Payton signed off on, I mean, not Sean Payton, but their other coach signed off on, or GM signed off on, maybe, maybe they'll be a better football team this year. Right now, it doesn't look like. I think they will because they have a great quarterback group, and they weren't horrible with Matt Ryan. It was more of
the team as a whole were just kind of struggled in certain
the whole
moments.
team struggled. It
And the
wasn't
coaching staff wasn't the best at certain times too.
Yeah, and Ryan was more of a. I think I've called him this before, and he's very robotic. He's very matter of fact. It's almost like he doesn't have any creativity in his game. And when you don't have any creativity as a quarterback in today's day and age, and you're basically like almost going by a script per se, it's not really going to get you that far. And I don't see how. I mean, I think he's got phenomenal accuracy, which he does. There's no doubt about that. But you got to look at who he's had for weapons, and he still wasn't able to get very far with those weapons. So you can blame it on a lot of different things, but at the end of the day, he's the guy that could have made a difference. He would have been a little bit more outside of the box, which he wasn't. He was always, if you look at him from.
And I feel like it's a combination of a bunch of different things. Not having a coaching staff, your top receivers hurt the last couple years, every other game. I mean, I think Matt Ryan is good, and they did make that Super Bowl. It just didn't line up for him.
Exactly.
That's just kind of how it is.
Yeah. I mean, it's just, Carson Wentz, went down, and Nick Foles made a Super Bowl. So, I mean, it's not like you got to have continuity. You have to have a team that's going to be able to gel together very well. And they just haven't had that over the last few years. So I hope they're better this year. I hope, the NFC as a whole has really two decent teams. Well, one really good team, and actually two. I can't say that because the Rams are not a bad team. Caleb, I told you, and it's still on the show. If anybody wants to go back and listen, when that deal was made, I said they will be in the Super Bowl and they'll probably win it.
Oh yeah, you did say that. You said they're going to go to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, and I said unless they play the Chiefs, I said if they don't play the Chiefs, they'll win. And that's exactly what happened. And I got to be honest, man. I don't know your opinion. I wanted your opinion on this because we haven't had a chance to really talk a lot since all this has been going on. But I keep hearing this Joe Burrow stuff in my ear all the time. And somebody, which I was, he's a very unbiased individual, and he's very straightforward. He stated that he thought Joe Burrow was almost played out of his shoes last year to a degree, but that he will regress this next year. What do you think about that? I believe that.
I think it's possible to an extent. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, quarterbacks are going to have up and down years. Mahomes last year he just had was really good, but it was probably his worst year statistically, even though that's like some quarterbacks' best years.
Exactly.
So it's kind of like a give or take. I think he might drop off, but it's going to be interesting to see what can the Bengals do as a whole to help benefit their team. They build up their offensive line. They got some good receiver weapons. They got to build up that defense. They got to do a lot of different things in order to help their team make it back to the AFC Championship game or maybe even the Super Bowl. Because I'm telling you right now, the AFC just got a lot better just this offseason alone. Light years ahead of the NFC. I think when you look at the two sides and just kind of looking at how it goes, the Bengals are going to probably win the division. I'll give them that. But they're going to face a tougher time in the playoffs. So I think it's a give or take. I mean, I think it's possible, but I never know. It's the NFL. Any given Sunday, things change all the time.
Yeah. I see what I understood. I mean, I guess I understood his concept behind what he was saying and why he said it. And it made sense to me. They won a lot of games last year that they probably shouldn't have won. And they really had a good schedule for the most part. other than a few teams. But
Mm-hmm.
we were not in a position to, how should I say this? We weren't in a good position in week 17,
Mm-hmm.
and we definitely weren't in a good position in the AFC Championship game. That's all going to change now. But
Mm-hmm.
I think that it's not, I think I know in week 17, if things would have went the way they should have went and the way they started out, if they would have finished that game in the same manner and the same coach was calling those plays in week 17 in the second half that they did in the first half, it would have been a runaway game.
Mm-hmm.
Now, also, it was a runaway game for the most part in the first quarter and through most of the second quarter until the refs started jumping in and screwing things up for, calling those horrible play calls and then not calling the ones that should have been called. And that played a huge part. If any game that you ever want to watch where the refs have really inevitably changed the outcome of a football game in every aspect, go to the week 17-21 season and watch the Chiefs Bengals game.
Mm-hmm.
Because that, from the touchdown in the second quarter on, was completely dictated by the referees. And of course, we didn't make any changes to adjust for how the Bengals came out and played us in the second half. But the one thing that we do know is that we could have ran the ball down their throats and won that football game.
Oh, for sure. And I
we
think it just showed the tell of two halves. The Chiefs were good, didn't do the thing in the second half they're supposed to, and that's what caused them to struggle and not do well at all. I mean, that's just kind of the overall synopsis of looking at both games. They should have beat them both times, but it just didn't happen.
And it was, and the second game in the AFC Championship game was mimicked week 17 as far as
it was, pretty
concerned.
much mimic. The Chiefs could have beat them.
Yeah.
But I mean, it just kind of shows you whenever certain things happen, if we've already been through 1,000 times, or only you go through 1,001. But it just shows you how, as a team, you play every single snap. The coaching staff all needs to be together. Egos need to be put aside. I mean, that's just what the synopsis, what we all see from it.
Exactly. I mean, no matter how you look at it, the egos got to be checked at the door, and they weren't. And it was an issue. I love the fact that Mahomes had everybody down working out with them. And that's phenomenal. I mean, it's great. McCall Hardman showed up. Everybody showed up. They were down there working out with him.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody, and there's a group of Twitter idiots that love to slam McCall Hardman and love to, talk about him constantly. One guy even brought up the fact that supposedly somewhere in Twitterverse, which nobody can find anywhere, he said he's not paid to go down there and work out with Pat in the off season. That I've never seen that come out on any tweet or heard him say that in any interview. So I don't know where or who made that one up, but it was probably the same idiots that, make up a lot of things. There's a group, in Chiefs Kingdom that really shouldn't be here, but they are. And it's just pretty insane that people are slamming this man that really had a great year his rookie season. He dropped off his second year. And then his third year, he started off a little slow, but then he really picked it up. And he found his niche. They found his niche. And he did very well throughout the rest of the season. Mm-hmm. And I think he's going to have a breakout season this year. I really do. I think he's going to have a phenomenal season.
Mm-hmm.
Because he is now, if you really look at it, with every wide receiver we have, other than Travis Kelce, and he's not a wide receiver, he knows the system better than anybody on our wide receiver.
For sure. Kelce is the system, honestly, kind of. For the most part, he's been the guy been here since the beginning, knows the system, knows the ins and outs of, and that's why he's been very successful.
Yeah. I mean, it's so now you got Travis Kelsey and you got McCall Hardman that are the two most um knowledgeable when it comes to our system right now. And then you bring in guys like we've brought in and the guys that are coming back or that are on, whether it be practice squad or elevated when it comes to, guys like Gordon and Jody Fortune's coming back. We got Omar Bayless that's probably going to do very well.
Mhm.
We got
Scantling,
Scantling that was a great pickup in my
Juju.
opinion.
I mean, we got a good group of guys. I'm not really worried, and we
Yeah.
might draft someone.
Yeah.
And I just saw this on Twitter, JP, but Jameson Williams is in Kansas City for a visit.
Who
so, Jameson Williams, wide receiver from Alabama.
Yes.
So he's in for a visit.
Yes.
Via
I was going to bring him up
story.
earlier. So, yep.
So
that's awesome.
I mean, the options are there. I'm not worried at all about this team.
Well, and you know what, dude? How many times I know I've said it a million times, and you've said it. That's the one wide receiver that I would love to see them pick up.
Mm-hmm.
And if they can snag him, that would be great.
Mm-hmm.
He's a future. He's the future. And that's what Veach does. He builds towards the future. Somebody had brought up. I don't know who it was. It was one in the middle of all of this stuff, and they had brought something up on Twitter on our focus page about something. And I said, well, Veach is building, he's not only looking at this year, he's looking at 5 years down the road. Oh, I know what it was. They didn't trust a wide receiver out of the draft to come in and make a difference, which McCall Hardman did. Mm-hmm. But and they also didn't trust them bringing in a cornerback, a CB, out of the draft and be a day one starter. Okay, well, look, these guys, if they played corner in college and they also played safety in college, if Veach is going to draft them, they're most likely going to be day one starters. I mean, it's just that simple.
Yeah, he doesn't get no scrubs. He finds the guys he needs.
Exactly. So I think, honestly, man, I mean, we're in a really good position as much as people don't want to believe it. We're in a great situation. Next topic really quick. Brandon put out some stats today of the 4 quarterbacks in the AFC West. I don't know if anybody had seen that. I know you probably did. And those were really pretty phenomenal stats when you think about it, because somebody said, but look at Herbert. And I wanted to kind of go over this a little bit. I want to find that tweet that he put out, because the one thing that I saw or I had seen that I wasn't, I guess, why somebody was so excited about Herbert, because the stats are not that similar. So here they are. So if we look at this, here's Mahomes' numbers. Okay. So 32 games, 26-6 record. Now this is in the AFC West. 66.3% completion percentage, 9,570 79 passing yards. I apologize. 299.3 yards per game, 75 passing touchdowns, and 19 interceptions. 498 passing first downs, 50 sacks taken, 128 rushes, 698 yards, 4 touchdowns, 4 rushing touchdowns, 47 rushing first downs, 6 fourth quarter comebacks, and 6 game-winning drives. Two-time Pro Bowl offensive, 2-time Pro Bowler, which that's actually not accurate to a degree, because he's actually a 4-time Pro Bowler. He just didn't go to 2 because he went to 2.
Yeah, gone to the Super Bowl.
Correct. 4-time Offensive Player of the Week, 2-time Offensive Player of the Month, 2 AFC Championship West divisions, 2 times, 1 AFC champ, 1-time AFC champion, 2020 third place MVP finish. And then Brandon couldn't get it all in there, but he does have 2 Super Bowls and a Super Bowl win. Now, if you compare that to Herbert in 32 games, so 28-6 record with Mahomes, 15-17 record with Herbert. 66.2 in completion, 66.3. That's fairly close. The yardage was somewhat close, 95.79 to Herbert's 93.50. 292 yards per game, which Mahomes is 299.3. 69 passing touchdowns to Mahomes, 75. 19 interceptions for Mahomes, 25 interceptions for Herbert. 472 passing first downs, 498 for Mahomes, 50 sacks against Herbert, 62 sacks, 128 rushes for Mahomes, 118 for Herbert, 700 yards for rushing yards for Mahomes, 536 for Herbert, 8 rushing touchdowns, 4 rushing touchdowns for Mahomes, 47 rushing first down for Mahomes, 48 rushing first downs for Herbert, 6 fourth quarter comebacks, 8 game winning drives, 1-time Pro Bowler, 3-time Offensive Player of the Week, 2020 NFL Offensive Rookie of the Year. Okay, now, if you really look at those numbers, there's things that are really missing. If somebody wants to compare Herbert to Mahomes, and that is 2 Super Bowls, 4 AFC Championship games, and that includes, making the playoffs, and a Super Bowl win versus no playoff appearances
No playoff appearances.
at all.
That's
No
the main
Super
thing.
Bowls. And, Derek Carr, I mean, it is what it is, but Derek Carr, 33 games, 18-15 record, 67.9 completion percentage, 8,900 yards, 269 yards per game, 50 passing touchdowns, 23 interceptions, which is almost a 50-50 split. 410 passing first downs, 66 sacks taken, 79 rushes, 248 rushing. Okay, now that's a number that you really got to look at. So if you look at it, he rushed the ball for 79 times for 248 yards and 3 rushing touchdowns, 25 rushing first downs compared to Mahomes's 47 rushing first downs and 4 rushing touchdowns. Now, 6 fourth quarter.
I mean, when we look at it though, too, I mean, it just shows Mahomes is the best in every single category. I mean, for the most part, he's continually outplaying all these guys.
Exactly. And the one that really is the one that's the kicker, though, Caleb, is the Russell Wilson one. Because 30 games, because he missed 2. He's got an 18-12 record, 67% completion percentage, 7,300 yards, 244 yards per game, 65 passing touchdowns, 19 interceptions, 348 passing first downs. I guess these must be career stats. 80
at least the last couple. This is at least the last couple years. 80 sacks taken. That's what it is. It's the last 2. I guess maybe the last 2 years. 128 rushes, 696 rushing yards, 4 rushing touchdowns, 42 rushing first downs. Now, this is a guy that was the main running back for his team for the last 2 years. 3 fourth quarter comebacks, 4 game-winning drives, 2-time Pro Bowler, 2-time Offensive Player of the Week, 1-time Offensive Player of the Month, and 2020 NFL Walter Payton Man of the Year winner. When you really look at the stats, there's 3 quarterbacks that are better than him in the AFC West. I mean, last couple years right now, as of these stats show.
Yeah, on paper. So am I saying Derek Carr is better than Russell Wilson? Oh, hell no. Wilson's a much better quarterback.
He's the second best in this. He's the second best in the division. Herbert is good, too. But I think Herbert is going to take that leap. But right now, when you're looking at career-wise, Russell Wilson is the second best.
Correct. But last year he had 2,800 yards. That's what he had. I mean, I know he was injured. His thumb took him out of 3 games, but again, out of 15, 40, out of 14 games, he had 2,800 yards in passing. I mean, that's not strong when you got a DK Metcalf and a Tyler Lockett. It's just not that great.
Going one and done the playoffs or winning 2 games and not doing much. I mean,
Exactly.
or winning a game, the second one, and not really going to fruition.
Exactly. So when people are looking, and the reason I read all that off, I know it was a little long-winded, but the reason I did that is because everybody has to look at things from a different perspective besides a name and besides what they think is good and what is actually good. Because sometimes when you really look at it, teams play, quarterbacks play better with less than they do with more. Everybody always said that Mahomes was only good when Kelsey and Tyreek were on the field. Well, he proved everyone wrong, because when Kelsey and Tyreek didn't play, he had 2 of the best games he had last year was when they weren't on the field. Now, I'm not taking anything away from either one of those players, but what I am saying is that Mahomes makes the second, third, and fourth string guys or options much better than other quarterbacks are able to do with their number 1 options.
I would agree with that.
So
Mahomes makes everyone look good, look better overall.
He does. Exactly. From running backs to even, he makes offensive linemen look better. So you have to look at it from a different perspective, I guess is what I'm trying to get at. It's not just about what's on paper. It's about how they got those numbers on paper. It's really what took them to that point and how they got there. And really, Mahomes had a lot of adversity to go through to get to those numbers. Hell, we've seen it since 2018. I mean, look what he's done. So 31st ranked defense, AFC championship game, 5,000 yards, 50 touchdowns. Each year he has progressively gotten better in different areas of his game that's not only brought us to a place that we haven't seen in 50 years, but made other quarterbacks that have been in the league for so long look like, I can't say average, but look below what they originally were made out to be. If you understand what I'm saying. So, he's made Russell Wilson look bad. He's made Tom Brady look bad. He's made, even
he's doing stuff that you don't see any other quarterback doing.
Exactly. And I get tired of hearing people say, oh, well, there's so much more that Josh Allen can do than Mahomes. Well, tell me what that is besides run. Mahomes doesn't have to run because he's better with his arm than anybody else in the league. So he's able to make those insane acrobatic throws and off kilter throws, off balance throws, off his pinky toe throws that most people can't do. So to say that, Josh Allen does things better than Mahomes, well, I haven't seen it yet because he hasn't gotten to the places Mahomes has gotten.
He hasn't gotten a Super Bowl. That's the main thing.
Exactly.
Too.
Exactly.
I know he got close. I mean, he got kind of close, but Mahomes, at the end of the day, were the better team.
Yeah. I mean, both times, 2 different playoff scenarios, they shut him down. So, and when the Bills supposedly got so much better, we shut him down again. So, and that was when our defense wasn't playing the greatest. Now, did they have a better day in this last divisional round than, maybe prior years or prior games? Yes, they did. But Mahomes played out of his shoes, and the rest of the team really played very well. So we can't fixate ourselves on, one particular thing when there's so much other areas and so many different things that go into making a team great. And he is the starting point of making that team great.
And if it wasn't for Holmes, the team wouldn't be in the AFC Championship game, in my opinion.
No, hell no.
We see them all those years. They had good players, and they just weren't able to get it done. Mahomes was the X factor, also adding different players, then bring guys like Tyrann Mathieu, Frank Clark, helping the culture. Most importantly, when you get a quarterback, like you say, JP, people are going to want to play with him.
Yeah.
And that's basically what we see. That's what ends up coming through as a whole.
Yeah. I mean, it's crazy. Somebody had brought up Travis Kelce the other day. We saw that on our focus page saying that, Travis Kelce can't block. I am so tired of hearing Travis Kelce can't block.
And it
He's
just go ahead.
one of the better blocking tight ends in football.
He is. It's just frustrating because it's like Kelce can block, he can catch. I don't know where this whole I really don't understand, but I will say this. Kelce is probably one of the better tight ends I've seen in my lifetime. And people say Gronk is better. I think Kelsey's more athletic. And one thing Gronk has on him is Super Bowl rings. And a couple of them, I know he didn't play. I know there's at least one Gronk didn't even play in the Super Bowl.
I think it was two, but yeah.
Maybe two. But I think Kelce is the more versatile, overall better wide receiver. Not taking anything away from Gronk, but Kelce is the new age tight end in a way.
Yeah.
Can do everything, can run, can catch, can block. I mean, he can throw. We seen him throw some passes. So
he was a quarterback at one time. So
was a quarterback. So I mean, there's just a lot of different things there for Kelce, and I'm just glad he's on this team. And my hope is the Chiefs can continue this when drafting successful tight ends in the event Kelce does retire in the next few years or so.
Yeah, I agree with you. And the one thing that I want people to look at is that just because he's not going head first into somebody to make a block or doing something like George Kittle does, or even a Gronk, doesn't mean he's not blocking. He has a way of blocking that it stutter steps the defender long enough to get our wide receivers past whoever they need to get past.
Mm-hmm.
He does it in a very intelligent way. Why? Because he wants his career to last longer.
Yes.
He wants to be able to play until he's 37 years old, which his contract will take him there, or 38. He may want to play even longer if he's still viable at that point and he still feels good. So why not do exactly what he's doing and play the most intelligent football you can play and still be able to go out and have 6 straight 1,000-yard seasons? Oh, and by the way, let's bring that up really quick too. Somebody said, well, he wouldn't have those if it wasn't for Mahomes. Well, okay, first of all, 2 of those were with Alex Smith, and we still had Tyreek Hill on the team. So 2 out of those 6 were with Alex Smith, and we had Tyreek on the team. We had other good wide receivers on the team. We had great running backs. So to say that it was all because of Mahomes is extremely false and just it's untrue, and it's really kind of jealousy boiling up, and a lot of it comes from Ravens fans and a lot of it comes from Raiders fans, but because they have a Mark Andrews and a Darren Waller, which has been injured a lot, and a lot from San Francisco.
They're 2 different tight ends. They don't equivalate to what Kelce does on a football field. Kelce, you could put him on the wide receiver position and he will be dominant.
Exactly. Yeah, and even if you put him as a wide receiver, he's gonna run protection just as well as a tight end would, and be just as successful. I'm sorry, but he beat out Tyreek Hill in yardage last year, and he was injured for most of the year. So I don't know what more anybody can say about that man. He is, without a doubt, the best tight end in football, and he may go down as the best tight end that's ever played this game. I mean, no matter how you look at it, dude, he is phenomenal. He's he's got great juke moves. His cuts are phenomenal. He opens up lanes. He blocks very well. Very, very hard to bring down. When he goes down very wisely because he doesn't want to get injured. He's just a very intelligent football player that is extremely good at what he does. And it's sad to see people, Miami was one of those teams, the fan bases that always said Tyreek Hill was a wife beater, a kid beater, blah, blah, blah. They're so excited Tyreek Hill's on that team right now, they can't see straight. And I don't know why they are, because they don't have a quarterback. All they're going to do is slow the man down. When you really think about it, I mean, they don't have a quarterback that's going to be able to do what that man's capable of doing.
You're talking about Tua?
Yeah, with Tua or
Yeah, I mean, Tyreek won $30 million a year. I mean, happy for him, but I don't see him having the same success as he had with Mahomes.
oh no.
I'm not seeing that.
I don't even see the same success he'd have with Alex Smith. I
You
mean, I really
sure?
don't. I don't know, man. I mean, I don't know if I could see it because Alex Smith is a much better game manager and he was very accurate. And when he went to Tyreek caught everything that went his way. So it's going to be, I think, what you're going to see, and I think that's probably why Tyreek requested for it to be in his contract that he is also returns punts. He's a returner because he knows he's not going to get the yardage in the wide receiver position that he did prior years, his prior 6 or 7 years, versus what he's gonna get in Miami. He knows he's not gonna get those yards.
Well, I saw something that I forgot their head coach, but he wants to use him similar to Debo Samuel. Tyreek Hill takes snaps out of the backfield, many different positions. I think it's possible. I hope it works well for Tyreek, but wear and tear on the body is another thing too. I mean, Tyreek Hill's in his prime. I'll argue that, but it's gonna be interesting to see if he's gonna do that much work. Is it gonna affect on his game too?
Yeah,
Because I mean, the Chiefs traded him at the perfect time. 5 picks for one player. Never seen that before.
No,
So
smartest. That just gives you a synopsis of how smart Veach is, because he did it at the exact time he should have done it. He waited, and he was very patient about it. He tried to keep Tyreek. Tyreek wanted to make that money, and he got what he wanted, and Veach got what he wanted. And now we're the only team in the NFL with 12 draft picks, and especially a Super Bowl contending team. And we're going to make moves that most people are just going to wish to God that they could do and their team could do. They're the most fascinating team in the draft right now, in my opinion.
oh, for sure. A lot of different moves, different things can happen.
Yeah. And believe me when I tell you, Veach has already got something up. I mean, he is a man that has a plan for everything. He's got a plan from A to Z, and he will figure it out. And I guarantee you, we will be right back in the same position we were last year and the year before that and the year before that. And if we win the Super Bowl this year without Tyreek Hill, oh my God, how
The haters will have to be quiet.
Yeah, they won't have a word to say.
Everybody will say, "Oh, Mahomes only good as weapons." Well, you got to be a good quarterback in order to have in order to continue to do what you're doing week in and week out, and that's what Mahomes has been doing. So
Exactly.
I'm not worried. I think this team will be fine. I'll be interested to see what they're going to do when it comes to the draft. That's kind of the main thing, but I think the Chiefs will be fine.
Well, I gotta say, I mean, for everybody out there that listens, Caleb and the group have been putting together a draft board, and Keaton's helped a lot. And these guys Caleb's a draft guru, and I wouldn't be surprised if you see a lot of the people on our draft board end up being drafted by Veach. I wouldn't be surprised at all because I've seen you do this before. So I know what you're capable of, and I know how you've got the right mindset to be able to see it and watch enough film and know what Veach wants and know what Andy wants and know what's going to fit within our system. You've done it before, and I know you'll do it again. And after seeing the draft board that you put together, I absolutely have no doubt that we're going to see a good amount of those players drafted by the Chiefs.
Well, I appreciate it, man. It's a group effort. Everyone who's been part of it is doing their part and putting a lot of stuff together.
Yeah. Yeah, you guys have. And, between you and Charles and everybody that's done it, but I know you, and I'm not saying anything against Charles or anyone else that's, contributed to that draft board, but I know your capabilities because I've known you the longest and I've seen what you've done.
Well, I appreciate it, man.
You're kind of a, I don't know, man. You're kind of robotic when it comes to that shit. You're very good at.
Well, I can only do the best I can do. I just see the kind of players and just give my thoughts, but just shout out to the team on everybody's helping me because it's been a lot we've been looking at here. And Looks like we got a good thing coming up pretty soon.
We got
So
a great team. We got a great group of people with Chiefs focus, and they're all extremely knowledgeable about football. And with, when it comes to the draft, you've got guys that follow it like you and follow the college players like you that are Keaton is an extremely intelligent guy that not only writes very good articles, but he's big into college and he's big into the draft. Charles, same way. Everybody for that matter. They've done a good job, but again, that's no slight on anyone. I know you, and after seeing what you guys put together and all the hard work that you put into this wasn't let's pick some players out of my butt and figure out, because they're a name or because of whatever. You guys really went in depth to see not only fitment, but if they have the ability to sit within our schemes, or the packages on defense, the packages on offense. If they've been injured, if they haven't been injured, who they played with, who they played for, if they played in a similar system. You guys really went in depth on this and spent a lot of man hours to put this together. So,
well, it's not done yet, man. I'll tell you that. A good amount is done, but it's not done yet.
yeah. What do you got? How many you got left to do?
We're still finishing up certain. If you look at the list, we finished a good amount.
Okay.
That will be released soon, but the other amount we're still working on.
Cool.
But pretty soon it will be for everyone who wants to see it.
Yep.
Putting out there. So very soon that'll be in the spaces. Probably early next week if all things goes well. So
yep. And
expect that to be coming very soon.
Yep. And we are going to be doing the spaces for everybody that's DM'd us. I know we've had so many DMs from people wanting us to do another spaces, and I apologize. This is on me. Again, I've been really tied up here the last couple of weeks and with everything that's going on. So I haven't been able to get onto one. And I know Caleb's been working hard on this draft board. Plus he's working as well. So it's just been one of those times where, it happens with everybody, I guess. And we're a little bit smaller of a group that takes our time when we do things to do it the right way. And when things happen, Charles got married. Congratulations.
Out to Charles.
Man, I had a good time. Had Casey Wolf out there. The guy just, I'm so happy for him. And so he's, enjoying his honeymoon, and he's been a huge part of this team since he's come on, and Keaton has turned out to be very well. Thiz, everybody,
everyone who's been a part of it.
Everybody that's been a part of it has been a huge, has made a huge impact. So I wanted to give a shout out to everyone, and I really appreciate everybody stepping in when I couldn't be there as well. You guys held it, had my back, tremendously had my back, and I really appreciate it.
No problem, man.
So
no problem.
But yeah, man, it's good. This is going to be an interesting draft. If I make it back, which I'm sure I will be back before the draft, I am going. As long as I make it back in time. But it's only the 12th, I think.
It's the 14th, and
it's the 14th,
it's into next week. Not next week, the week after.
Week after. I'll definitely.
We still got time.
Yeah, I'll definitely be back before then, and I'll be able to go to the draft, and hopefully I'll be able to get some conversations going with some of these potentials, and maybe get some interviews with some guys and see what they have to say, and it'll be fun. It's been a long time since I've been to a draft, and I'm not only going to this one, but I'll be with the one next year in Kansas City. So,
Kansas City, yeah, man.
Yeah,
it's gonna be a good time.
Be a really good time at that one. This is just an interesting draft class. It's weird how it fell in. It's like, if you really think about it, Caleb, this draft class has kind of fallen into our laps of what we need, because the
position is loaded.
Exactly. Those positions of need that we have is absolutely loaded, and we've got a lot to choose from, and it's just awesome. Now, whether again, more, you guys that have built this draft board know more than anybody else does about who's got more fitment and who doesn't, because you guys, you follow it more than I do as far as the college film and things of that nature. I'm more of a NFL film guy and see what things do, players may need to do to improve, or a mistake they may have made, or being out of position, or whatever the case may be. But you guys are really the backbone when it comes to everything, everything when it comes to the draft and all that stuff. I mean, I'm more of a voice and just an opinion guy of what the NFL I see it during the season and through the playoffs. But you guys have really stepped up in a big way.
We appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Yes.
I will like to make one announcement before we wrap up. We are looking for writers or anyone
Yes.
who's interested in joining our team. If you're interested, please DM us. We're looking to expand our team. Different group members, writers mainly is what we're looking for. But if you're interested, please DM us.
Yes.
Please DM us.
Yes. We
have a tweet out
definitely
too, which you're supposed to do as well. Follow the steps. Please DM us so we can get in contact with you. I'm just putting that out there. We've been able to find really good group members in the past. We're going to try to continue to do the same thing. We're going to continue to build and grow this brand because we have a lot of people that like it. And we're trying to take it to new heights. So we really
Yes.
appreciate if you guys could please follow the information if you're interested in joining.
Yes, definitely. We need more writers. Not because of any other reason that other than the fact that everybody has a different perspective, and we want to grow the team in a, as we've always done, in an organic way and with the right people. And so far, it took us a long time to find the group of guys that we've got right now. And Caleb will tell you, it was a grind.
Yes, a grind. But that's part of the journey. That's part of the journey.
It really is. I mean, it's no different than anything else that you do in life. The grind will get you to where you want to be. And if you don't want to put the work in, it's kind of like, don't complain, So we've all put the work in to get this to this point, and we really appreciate. But before we wrap up, I got a little bit of a statement. All the new people that have followed us, we really appreciate your follow. Keep following. Sign up for the website. It's free. You'll get, all the stuff in your inbox that we do, so you don't have to search for it on Twitter or any other social media platform. You can pull it up on Google in a half a second. But again, you'll get it in your inbox. You can read any articles that come out, any podcasts that come out, any giveaways that we do. The stats will be on there. We've got all kinds of stuff coming as well. Some new stuff coming on board. We actually have some stuff, a couple of things for sale right now on the store. I know at least one t-shirt that is for sale, and then we have some other stuff that's coming soon, and we're going to have a whole merch store built and ready to go as soon as I get back into town. I'm going to finish getting that done, so you guys will have merchandise. And we will be giving away, again, once we hit 1,000 followers or 1,000 subscribers on the website, everybody gets a free t-shirt. And when we hit 40,000 followers on Twitter, we're going to give away something awesome that everybody's going to want.
We're almost at 30,000. We're at 29.40K right now. So very, very close. Hitting 30K.
Yep. So we've been growing very well, and we appreciate everybody that's following us, and we hope we give you good content. And avoid the haters if you can. Avoid all the dredge arguments and people that just like to argue on Twitter and say negative things, because to be honest with you, that's just because they're miserable in their own lives. That they can't be nice because they're not happy. Just avoid those people and try to stay positive, and we'll keep moving forward with what we're doing, and we'll bring you for the ride. You guys are all in it for the ride in the long haul with us. So we appreciate it. But I don't know if we got anything else, man. Do you have any predictions as far as Veach doing anything more in free agency or picking somebody
No, I
up
think
before
free
the
agency is done. Unless something crazy happens, I think he's done making trades. Trades right now for players. He will be doing his work for the draft.
And
I
you don't
really
think
believe
he'll
that's
pick
what
up
they're
any free agents at all that are sitting there?
not right now. Personally, he might sign someone, but I think he's moved on to the next phase, which is the draft.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think there may be one player that he may pick up if he's able to. But let me take that back. I'm going to say two because I have heard of two that he's been interested in and working on. One offensively, one defensively. And if he's able to grab those players, fantastic. If not, it is on to the draft. But he made, a nice little cap space for himself and a great group of picks. So we're in a really good position where this is not a rebuild. This is an add-on. That's all this is an addition. We're just adding on to what we already got. So with that being said, if you're done, if you have nothing else, we can wrap this one up.
I think we're good to go, man.
All right, man. Well, we will talk to you guys next week on a Spaces. So for everybody that has been wanting to know, we're going to do one next week. Hopefully, I'll be back in town by then and we can figure things out. But if not, I can do it from where I'm at. It's not a big deal. But we will do a Spaces, and for everybody that's been wanting to get it done, or us to have one, I should say. And we will talk to you then. So I hope you enjoy your weekend, and we will talk to you next week.
See you next time, Chiefs Game. Thank you guys for listening. We really appreciate it.
Yeah. Peace out, guys.